My girlfriend of 4 years, Emily, who helped me escape my abusive home, laughed at an essay joke right next to me. Then I found out she'd been sharing my childhood trauma with everyone as girl talk. I've been with Emily for 4 years now. We're both 20. After high school, I moved in with her immediately because of problems with my father. Some background. My mother died when I was 7, and my dad remarried when I was 9. My stepmother, Linda, sexually abused me from ages 10 to 15. I didn't tell my father until I was steen. Instead of supporting me, he dismissed it completely, just shrugged it off like I was making it up or something. He's still married to her. There were days I'd lock myself in my room just to avoid being in the same space as her. My dad would bang on the door, telling me to stop being dramatic. That's the kind of household I was living in. I told Emily about all this after dating for a year. She seemed supportive and let me live with her and her parents, who have treated me well. Her mom, Susan, would always make sure I had food, and her dad, Mark, taught me how to change oil in a car and other practical stuff my own father never bothered with. For the first time, I felt like I was in a real home. Last night, her parents were away for the week, so we invited friends over. About an hour into the gathering, I was sitting on the couch with Emily and two of her friends, including a guy named Jake, who's always been kind of a loudmouth. We started talking about our old teachers and found out that an attractive biology teacher from our school got fired a year after graduation for sexually assaulting a student in her class. Jake said something like, "Man, he got lucky. I'd pay to get hello by her." Emily burst out laughing, not just a polite chuckle, but full-on belly laughing. The other female friend, Sarah, didn't laugh, and I just got up and went to the bathroom. Emily didn't even notice me leave, but Sarah, who didn't laugh, followed me. In the bathroom, my eyes started watering, and I couldn't stop it. Sarah tried to comfort me by awkwardly patting my back. Meanwhile, Emily was still in the other room, extending the joke with Jake. I could hear them through the door making more comments about how the kid probably enjoyed it, and other that made my stomach turn. Today, the party's over, and Emily is acting cheerful as usual. She made pancakes this morning and seemed confused when I barely touched them. I can't bring myself to talk to her. The fact that she would laugh at something like this while sitting right next to me, knowing what I went through, hurts. Her failure to even acknowledge it makes it worse. She keeps asking if I'm okay, and I just nod and walk to another room. I've been staring at my phone all day, typing and deleting messages to my few friends. I'm seriously thinking about breaking up over this, but part of me wonders if I'm overreacting or being too sensitive. She's my first serious girlfriend. We've been together through some tough. She helped me pass calculus when I was failing. She went with me to my mom's grave last year, the first time I'd been since the funeral. But now I keep hearing her laugh at that joke over and over in my head. About an hour after posting, I told Emily we needed to talk. I didn't have a plan or anything prepared. She was in the kitchen loading the dishwasher when I approached her. She agreed to talk, and we sat at the dining table. I just spilled everything to her. I told her how that joke made me feel, how her laughing felt like she was laughing at my experience too, and how I couldn't understand how she could forget something so important about me. After I finished, she looked shocked and sad. Her face went pale. She hugged me and apologized multiple times. She claimed she saw that neither I nor Sarah found the joke funny, so she laughed to make Jake feel better. She said she was caught off guard and didn't want an awkward silence. She also claimed she didn't make the connection to my past. Then she started crying, which led to me comforting her. She kept saying she felt terrible and didn't mean to hurt me. Somehow, I ended up being the one rubbing her back and telling her it was okay. I'm probably not going to leave her. She helped me escape my old house, and despite still feeling hurt, she seems genuinely sorry. When I first told her about Linda, she was the one who convinced me I deserved better and helped me pack my stuff while my dad was at work. I also hate seeing her upset. Maybe I'm being a pushover, but it's hard to throw away 4 years over one mistake. We ordered pizza and watched a stupid comedy movie. Things felt almost normal, but there's still this weird tension. She keeps looking at me like she's waiting for me to explode or something. Right after posting my first update, Sarah called to check on me. I was surprised to see her number, since we've never called each other before. She didn't waste any time with small talk. She said, "I can't believe Jake made that joke, and Emily laughed about it while knowing what happened to you." This caught me off guard, since I don't know Sarah well, which means Emily must have told her about my past. I asked how she knew, and she confirmed Emily had told her months ago. She mentioned a few details that I definitely only told Emily. I thanked her for checking on me and hung up. She seemed confused by my abrupt goodbye, but didn't call back. I sat on the edge of the bed for about 20 minutes, just staring at the wall. Emily walked in and asked who called. I didn't answer her directly. I told her I was going to a friend's house and needed some space. She started asking questions, but I just grabbed my jacket and wallet and left. My friend wasn't home when I got there, but his sister Rachel let me in. She took one look at my face and made me sit down. After hearing everything, she called me a for accepting Emily's apology so quickly, but offered to let me stay as long as needed. She went into her room and called my friend to make sure it was okay. I could hear her saying, "Your dumbass friend is having relationship problems and needs a place to crash." I think you guys are right about this being a bigger issue than just the joke. It's just difficult to accept because Emily helped me escape from my old home, and I owe her so much. I've been sleeping on her parents' couch for the past 3 years. They bought me a laptop for school. She helped me apply for financial aid for college. I don't have any family to fall back on. Currently, I'm sitting on my friend's couch while Rachel cooks pasta. The apartment smells like garlic and butter, and it's making me realize I haven't eaten all day. My phone has been buzzing nonstop with texts from Emily asking where I am and if I'm okay. I only responded once to say I was safe and needed space. My friend called and said, "We need to have a meeting with the homies about this." His exact words. He sounded more excited about the drama than concerned about my situation, but that's just how he is. Rachel keeps shooting me these looks of pity while stirring the pasta sauce. It's uncomfortable, but at least I'm not at home pretending everything is fine. Just finished a call with some friends. One of them is the friend whose sister I'm staying with right now, Ryan. He and 3 other friends, Matt, Chris, and Nick, arranged a group call to discuss everything. I've known these guys since middle school. They've never met Emily more than a couple of times because she always said they were too immature. I explained the situation and showed them my previous posts and the comments. They all got quiet when I mentioned what Emily had shared with her friends. Matt asked, "So she told her friends about your most private trauma, but you've never been allowed to hang out with us because we're immature?" I hadn't thought about it that way. They listened sympathetically, but said they weren't qualified to give relationship advice since none of them had been in a relationship before. Nick has never even kissed a girl. Rachel walked by during the call and heard this part. She grabbed my phone and told them they were being useless and needed to help me more. She said something like, "You don't need to be a relationship expert to know when someone's being treated like." My friend seemed intimidated by her, which was kind of funny. Rachel organized a movie night tomorrow with me, her, and my 3 friends so I can cool off and we can discuss everything in more detail. She's making a big batch of nachos and buying beer. I feel weird about imposing, but she insists it's fine. I also talked with my friends about possibly moving in with one of them temporarily if I break up with Emily. The reality is starting to hit me that I might be homeless soon. Rachel already offered her place, but their apartment is already crowded with her, Ryan, their parents, and 2 cats. So I don't want to impose long term. Matt and Chris, who live together, said I could stay with them as long as needed. Their apartment is tiny and always a mess, but they have a futon in the living room. Emily has tried calling singing times today. Rachel advised me not to talk to her in my current state, saying I'd probably just cave and forgive her again. I sent a text explaining my whereabouts and that I need time to think. She responded with, "I understand. Love you." Then 5 minutes later, sent another text saying her mom is worried about me and wants to know if I'm coming home for dinner tomorrow. I didn't respond. So now I'm on my friend's couch, bothering their family while Ryan isn't even home. I keep opening my photos and looking at pictures of me and Emily. There's one from last summer where we went camping with her family. I was so happy that day. I hate how this is dragging out and just want it to be over. But I know it's not that simple, and I need to work through this. Sarah texted me, saying Emily is really upset and crying a lot. I'm not sure what she expects me to do with that information. Early this morning, around 6:30, Emily showed up at Ryan's house. I was still asleep on the couch when the doorbell rang. Rachel got to the door first, wearing pajamas and looking pissed about being woken up. Through the peephole, she saw it was Emily and told me to hide in the bathroom. I told her that was ridiculous and said to let her in. Rachel initially didn't want to, saying stuff like, "She doesn't deserve to talk to you," but I said it was okay to hear her out. I felt like I at least owed her a conversation. We sat on the couch while Rachel went to another room for privacy, though I'm pretty sure she was eavesdropping from the hallway. Emily looked terrible. Her eyes were puffy, and her hair was in a messy bun. She hadn't even put on makeup, which is rare for her. She again apologized for laughing at the joke and not comforting me, then said she was worried and wanted me to come home, asking what else she could do to make it up to me. She brought a bag with some of my favorite snacks and a new phone charger since she knew I'd left mine at home. Then I asked the question that had been bugging me since yesterday. Why did Sarah know about my past? She looked shocked, like someone had slapped her. After a few seconds of opening and closing her mouth, she admitted she'd told her closest friends, whom she trusted deeply. Apparently, one of them let it slip at a group outing while drunk. She explained that in her mind, telling these close friends wouldn't matter, since I didn't know them, and they wouldn't tell anyone else. Obviously, that turned out to be wrong, and now most of our mutual friends know. "It was just girl talk," she said, like that made it better. "We tell each other everything." My fists clenched as I told her how hurt I was, and that I couldn't trust her anymore. She started crying again, but this time I didn't comfort her and asked her to leave. She asked when I was coming home, and I told her I'd definitely stay for the planned night with my close friends and then decide what to do after. She didn't look pleased, but left. She forgot the bag of snacks, which is still sitting untouched on the coffee table. Afterward, I just sat on the couch, staring at nothing. Rachel came back and made breakfast without saying anything. She put a plate of eggs and toast in front of me and watched until I took a bite. I called my friends to tell them what happened, and this time they got angry on my behalf. Matt said he always thought something was off about her. They said this was definitely too far and we'd talk more when they arrived tonight. Currently, I'm sitting on a park bench a few blocks away, as I thought a walk might clear my head. An old man is feeding pigeons nearby, and I've been watching him for 20 minutes. My life feels like it's falling apart, and this guy is just living his best life, giving bread to birds. Must be nice. My friends came over around 8 p.m., and Rachel cooked dinner. The apartment was cramped with 5 of us there. Nick brought a 12-pack of beer, and Matt brought chips. Chris didn't bring anything, as usual, the cheapskate. We didn't even watch a movie as planned, but instead, went through my posts and all the comments in detail. Nick read some of the harsher comments out loud in a funny voice, which lightened the mood a bit. They all agreed that Emily sharing my trauma with her friends was a major breach of trust. Chris, who's usually the quiet one, said he couldn't imagine staying with someone after that. We spent about 3 hours talking about it. They asked questions I hadn't even considered, like if this was the first time she'd dismissed my feelings, or if there were other red flags I'd ignored. When I thought about it, there were plenty of little moments where she'd made decisions for both of us without consulting me, or times she'd laughed off my concerns about various things. Nothing as serious as this, but still a pattern. Eventually, Ryan and Rachel sat me down in the kitchen while the others played video games in the living room. They made it clear they think I should go to therapy, not couples therapy with Emily, but individual therapy for myself. I immediately rejected the idea. Therapy is expensive, and I don't have insurance. Plus, I've never been comfortable with the idea of talking to a stranger about my problems. But they insisted. Rachel said, "It's not just about this incident, but about everything that happened with Linda and my father." I don't really want to go, but even I recognize that I need to. Even if this whole girlfriend situation hadn't happened, I'd have needed therapy eventually. The Anne with Linda didn't just disappear because I moved out. We're all staying at Ryan's place for a sleepover. It's really cramped. Nick is sleeping on an air mattress that keeps deflating. Matt and Chris are sharing the other couch, and Rachel went to her room. They all crashed around 2 a.m. after several beers and a heated argument about whether cereal is soup. It's not, for the record. Rachel has a friend who also went to therapy for essay issues, so she recommended that therapist. She even offered to help me figure out payment options. Currently, I'm the only one awake, staring at the ceiling while my friends are passed out around me. Nick is snoring loud enough to wake the dead. I still need to tell Emily about the therapy decision, and I don't know if it's appropriate to do over text, so I'll visit her house tomorrow. I keep thinking about my stuff at her parents' house, my clothes, my laptop, the few photos I have of my mom. I'll need to get those things eventually. The thought of packing up and leaving that house makes my chest tight. Her parents have been so good to me. I needed a break from the internet, which is why this update comes several days after everything went down. It's been hard, and I needed time to process without typing everything out immediately. I decided to tell Emily about going to therapy the morning after my last post. I charged my phone and found 34 text messages and 12 missed calls from her. I didn't read them all, just scrolled through quickly. Most were variations of "please come home" and "I'm so sorry." I went to her house alone without any friends because bringing them probably would have created drama. Susan answered the door and hugged me immediately. She asked if I was eating enough and told me I looked tired. She made me sit at the kitchen table and fixed me a sandwich before calling Emily down from her room. It was awkward as hell, but also kind of nice to have someone fuss over me like that. When Emily came downstairs, Susan left us alone. Emily looked like she hadn't slept in days. I told her straight out that I was going to therapy and needed space to figure things out. I expected her to be supportive, but instead she frowned. She told me she doesn't want me to go to therapy, that I'm already normal, and we didn't have any issues until now. She kept saying we could work things out on our own and that she'd never laugh at something like that again. She said therapists just try to blame everything on your parents and make you pay for it. I stood firm with my decision and told her we needed to take a break, not just for my sake, but for hers too. I explained that forcing ourselves to stay together now would definitely lead to more problems, and I need to focus on myself. Her face crumpled as she offered that I could still stay at her place even if we weren't together, so I wouldn't have to return to my father's house. I told her I'd already arranged to stay with 2 friends. She nodded and said she was glad I wasn't going back to my old home and hoped I'd return to her someday. She helped me pack some of my things. Neither of us said much. It was strange going through the drawers and closet space I'd been using for years, deciding what to take now and what could wait. I ended up with 2 duffel bags of clothes and my laptop. She kept picking things up and asking if I wanted to take them, like a hoodie of hers I sometimes wore or a coffee mug she bought me last Christmas. I left most of it behind. Mark came home from work while I was packing and seemed confused about what was happening. When Emily explained, he pulled me aside and asked if there was anything he could do. I thanked him for everything he and Susan had done for me over the years. It was a difficult conversation, but I'm glad I had it. He shook my hand and told me their door was always open if I needed anything. Before I left, Emily tried to hug me, but I stepped back. I couldn't handle that level of contact yet. She looked hurt but nodded like she understood. I think in that moment, we both knew this wasn't just a break, but an actual breakup. My first therapy session is next week with the therapist Rachel recommended, and I'm already moving my stuff into Matt and Chris's apartment. Their place is smaller than I remembered, and they're not the cleanest guys, but they've cleared out a corner of the living room for me. Matt even bought a screen to give me some privacy. I've been sleeping on their futon for 3 nights now. It's lumpy and uncomfortable, and someone in the apartment upstairs plays the guitar at 7:00 a.m. every morning, but it's better than going back to Emily's house, or worse, my father's. Chris has been showing me how to cook basic meals since I've always relied on Emily or Susan for food. Yesterday, I made spaghetti that wasn't half bad. Matt has been trying to teach me how to play some video game they're both obsessed with, but I'm terrible at it. Still, it's a good distraction. I know I must seem like the biggest Reddit addict with how much I've posted about this, but everything has finally settled into a normal routine, so here's a final update on the whole situation. 3 months after everything went down, first, regarding how I felt during this whole ordeal, I was in a constant spiral and used the validation from these posts as a coping mechanism, which is why I posted about practically everything that happened, no matter how small. I feel somewhat pathetic about it now, but what's done is done. The first few weeks were the hardest. I kept wanting to call Emily whenever something good or bad happened. It's weird how habits form like that. I'd reach for my phone to text her about a good grade or a funny meme before remembering we weren't together anymore. Matt caught me staring at my phone once and took it from me, replacing it with a beer and saying, "Whatever you're thinking about texting her, don't." As for what's happened since my last post, I've been going to therapy consistently for about 2.5 months now. My therapist is a middle-aged woman named Dr. Carter, who doesn't choose me or let me war her. The first few sessions were brutal. I'd leave feeling drained and irritable. But lately, I've been making progress. We talked about why I jumped from my father's house straight into living with Emily, never giving myself time to be independent. We've also started addressing the abuse from Linda, which is as difficult as you'd expect. I now live permanently in a small apartment with Matt and Chris. We've worked out a system for sharing the bathroom and kitchen, and I help with rent by doing most of the cleaning since they're both slobs. They've never once complained about me taking up space in their living room or mentioned anything about me moving out, which I appreciate more than they know. Everyone still checks on me more than necessary. Rachel calls every few days to make sure I'm eating. Nick randomly shows up with energy drinks and stays for hours talking about nothing important, which I suspect is his way of making sure I'm not alone too much. Emily's parents texted a few times to check on me. Mark offered to help me find a job at his company, but I declined. I need to figure things out on my own for once. I'm working part-time now while taking classes. The pay is due, but my boss is flexible with my schedule. Regarding Emily, I talked with her once I was in a better mental state, about a month after moving out. We met. She asked if I could visit her and her parents occasionally, which I do every couple of weeks. But she and I now interact more like polite acquaintances. It's awkward, but not as painful as I expected. She started dating someone new last month. I found out through Instagram. It stung a bit, but not as much as I thought it would. Overall, I'm doing better, staying away from my family and hanging out with the best friends in the world. I still have bad days where I miss what my life was before, but I'm starting to see that maybe that relationship wasn't as healthy as I thought. I know this isn't the dramatic conclusion some of you were hoping for. No explosive confrontations or grand revelations, just a guy figuring things out.